In 1487, the skies above Tenochtitlan shimmered under the heat of countless fires. The causeways to the island capital were filled with captives, men from conquered provinces paraded before the crowds, stumbling beneath the shadow of the great temple, with ropes threaded through their pierced noses. For 4 days and nights, the Aztecs are said to have sacrificed between 4,000 and 20,000 prisoners of war to mark the reconsecration of their most sacred site, the Templo Mayor. Some Spanish chroniclers claimed even higher figures, though modern historians tend to treat these as exaggerations. Whatever the exact number, the event remains one of the most notorious spectacles of the pre-Columbian world. To European observers, who later recorded it, the ritual appeared as madness, barbaric, and incomprehensible. Yet to the Aztecs, it was far from chaotic. It was ceremony, duty, the price of the sun. To understand their world, one must grasp not why they sacrificed, but how. At the summit of the stepped pyramid, smoke rose from censers, filled with burning copal resin. Shell trumpets blared, and drums thundered. The condemned were led upward, one by one, toward the gods. At the center of the platform lay a smooth stone slab, slick with blood. 4 priests held the victims' limbs, while a 5th, the high priest of Huitzilopochtli, god of war, raised an obsidian blade. With a single motion, he plunged it into the man's chest, plunging his hands into the wound. Emerging with the still beating heart, he held it aloft so the sun could witness the offering. The heart was then burned, placed in a stone vessel, or consumed by the priesthood in a sacred act of communion. The body might be flayed, decapitated, and cast down the pyramid steps, its head placed on a zampantli, a rack of skulls, demonstrating divine power. Some Spanish accounts claimed the remains were later fed to animals in the emperor's menagerie. Though archaeological evidence is inconclusive, every detail was intentional. Every movement had purpose. The Aztecs believed that spilling blood nourished the cosmos, preventing the universe from collapsing into darkness. Not all sacrifices were swift. For Huitzilopochtli, the flayed one, the ritual was a prolonged pageant of death and renewal. 40 days before the ceremony, a chosen man lived as the god's double, draped in gold and bright feathers, paraded through the streets, and honored as divine. On the festival day of Tlacaxipihilistli, he was tied to a stone platform, armed with a feathered club incapable of harming anyone, and forced to fight elite warriors with obsidian blades. They cut him down in a ritual duel, symbolizing the sprouting of crops. His skin was peeled and worn by priests for 20 days, mirroring the shedding of maize to reveal new life. To honor Mixcoatl, god of the hunt, a victim might be tied to a wooden frame and transformed into living prey, pierced by arrows until the heart fell, ensuring the success of the hunt. The most solemn rite was the new fire ceremony, held every 52 years when the Aztec calendar completed a cycle. All flames across the empire were extinguished. The world waited in darkness, while priests atop a sacred hill opened a man's chest and ignited a new fire in his heart. From this spark, torches spread across the empire, rekindling creation itself. Every cut, every scream was a prayer. To outsiders, it was barbaric. To the Aztecs, it was balance, repayment of cosmic debt. Their mythology held that the world began with the tearing apart of a primordial monster, whose body became earth, sky, and mountains. Her spirit demanded recompense, and the gods promised her blood. Humanity itself was born from transgression. The wind god Ehikatl, a form of Quetzalcoatl, stole the bones of ancient beings from the underworld to create humankind. Human sacrifice was thus atonement, moral repayment for existence. Sacrifice was not cruelty. It was the maintenance of order. Without human blood, the gods would weaken, the sun would falter, and the cosmos would collapse. Each drop spilled on Tenochtitlan's altars kept the universe turning. The heart was more than flesh. It was the fuel of creation. Being chosen as a sacrifice was a privilege, a direct path to communion with the gods. Most victims were captives from the Flowery Wars, ritual battles fought not to destroy, but to capture. Aztec armies advanced like living banners, scouts in front, warrior priests bearing images of Huitzilopochtli in the center, and elite fighters wielding obsidian-edged clubs designed to wound rather than kill. Captives were bound, adorned with feathers, and brought back to Tenochtitlan as living offerings. Other paths to the altar existed. In sacred ball courts, teams competed to drive a heavy rubber ball through stone rings using only hips, knees, and elbows. Losers, including team captains, could be sacrificed to restore divine favor. Slaves were sometimes offered by masters to accompany them in the afterlife or repay good fortune. The most devout offerings were god impersonators men, selected to embody deities like Tezcatlipoca or Huitzilopochtli. Some lived as divine figures for a year, adorned with jewels, taught songs, given wives, and worshipped by all. When their time came, they walked willingly to the altar, completing a cycle of imitation and devotion. Even children could be offered. Some accounts suggest that their tears were sacred to Tlaloc, the rain god, and were sought to ensure rainfall. Sacrifice extended beyond humans. Animals, jaguars, eagles, deer, snakes, butterflies, and even shellfish were chosen for symbolic connections to gods. Non-lethal offerings existed too. Priests and nobles performed auto-sacrifice, drawing their own blood from ears, tongues, or legs with sharp bones or thorns, burning it on strips of paper. Rising smoke carried their essence to the heavens. Others buried food, jade, or shells, or created amaranth and honey effigies with a drop of human blood. These edible idols were burned or consumed, blurring worship and sustenance. Every act, from grand public executions to a single drop of blood, formed part of a cosmic contract binding mortals to the divine. By the time the Spanish arrived, the Aztec Empire had perfected sacrifice into spectacle. The ceremonial precinct of Tenochtitlan was a city within a city, with vast temples, shrines, and courtyards designed to awe and terrify. When drums began, the city moved as one. Crowds assembled before the pyramids, tens of thousands watching victims ascend in solemn procession. The scent of blood mingled with incense. The air trembled with chanting. Spanish witnesses claimed the Templo Mayor steps ran slick with gore, rivers of blood flowing into the streets below. While likely exaggerated, even reduced, the rituals were astonishing in scope and discipline. The logic of Aztec faith was cyclical. The gods had given their blood to create humanity. Humanity must return the favor to sustain the gods. To stop was to die. To deny the gods was to doom the world. So long as hearts beat upon the altars, the heavens would move, the sun would rise, the rains would fall, and maize would grow. Scholars estimate that at its height, the Aztec Empire may have sacrificed as many as 200,000 to 250,000 lives in a year, though the true number remains uncertain and debated. The Aztecs believed it a small price for cosmic survival. Within the temple walls, the cries of the condemned mingled with music, drums, and prayer. To modern ears, it is a vision of unimaginable cruelty. But in Tenochtitlan, it was the rhythm of the universe itself, a pact between mortals and gods, sealed in crimson. When the final heart was raised to the sun, the high priest's hands trembling with exhaustion and glory, the crowd erupted in praise, believing that through this blood, the world would endure another day. And for a time, it did.